This is a video about pulling small stumps with snatch blocks and a come along, and cable and chains and some hooks and straps and stuff like that too, I guess. I have this line of cedar stumps in front of my garage. I cut them down a couple of years ago when we were first working on the property. Since then, this area has become a collection point for random things that I had to move out of the driveway and the garage approach. Pulling these stumps is the first step in reclaiming that area. This was my initial setup using two snatch blocks. The pull started at the target stump and then went to the first block anchored to a tree about 25 feet away. The second snatch block was anchored to the chain on the target stump. And finally to an anchor point way past the tree with the first block. The reason for the long distance pull was simple. I had a long cable and I didn't want to cut it up because I use it for other things. I also didn't want to make two new ends, but that's not important. I'm going to speed up this first pull because nothing happens. The chain is attached to the base of the stump, so there's no leverage for pulling the stump over. I also have the come along in single pull instead of double, but that's probably not too important, seeing as I only use single pull for the rest of the stumps. The most critical thing here is that the two snatch blocks just don't multiply the pull enough, even for these small stumps. Luckily, there's a Harbor Freight right up the road. Okay. Later, same day, switched up. I'm now using three snatch blocks. The pull starts. Already pulled one. Starts at the stump. The hook's right there, short of the red hook on the stump. Goes back to the tree, comes back to the second snatch block there, goes back to the third snatch block, and then comes over here to a come along tied just to a larger stump. I'm going to let this pull run in real time just to give you an idea of how long this takes. It's a small stump and it doesn't put up much of a fight. Yes, I chose an easy target for the proof of concept. There's some fiddling with the come along because mine is a cheap one from Tractor Supply, if I recall. The line tends to stack up at one end or the other, and if you don't force the line to spool evenly when the stress on the line builds, it will snap off the stack with a disturbing noise. At this point, it's basically finished, but it felt good to pull it up, so I kept going. That's that. was the noise I was talking about. The line got spooled up on one side and snapped off the stack. There's that line stack again. You see how disturbing that noise is? Especially when you're standing right over the cable. Different day, and I want to show pulling a stump that's a little bit bigger and a little bit less cooperative. So each snatch block you use doubles the force of the pull, but also halves the distance that the anchor point moves. So if I'm using 3 snatch blocks, that means in order to make the stump move 1 foot, I need to provide 8 feet of line. Yeah, this comes to bite me here. I think I've run out of line in this series. Yeah, I just figured out that I'm gonna run short before I even start, so I'm coming back to move the hook to move the first snatch block up closer to the stump. And I'm already running short of pull here, but I'm trying to loosen up the stump by cutting some of the roots on the back side of it. This is often necessary depending on the species or the size of the stump or how fresh it is. I wanted to show this one because this was not one of the easy ones. I was trying to cut the roots the second time because I was hoping this was going to pop loose once I did, but it didn't. I'm out of pull, so I have to reset the anchor point. It is still too firmly attached on one side, so I have to reset the anchor point again. Unfortunately, the next point is like 30 feet past because I'm still trying to use trees. Alright, let me explain what happened there. So, that last little bit, I pulled it up by hand. My original anchor point was over here. This is the largest stump that I have access to right now. But I ran out of line, so I changed it up to a double pull. Ran out of line again, switched the anchor point to this littler, the smaller stump here. Again ran out of line. Changed it to that tree back there with the yellow strap, but the yellow strap was just single wrapped around the tree and ran all the way out here, and it gained me no more line, even though visually it gave me another foot. I pulled it, it was the same tension as before, so then I doubled it up. And that's about when the camera died. It's okay, I wasn't really adding anything else. The end of the story is I tied off to that tree and finished the pull. The end.